Well, guess I'm live here. Uh, Open your eyes. I did a couple of seconds ago. I did tried to go on a stream and things weren't set right. So I did a second one. So this is the good one. I'll delete the other one. This one's called Open Your Eyes. And I think that's what a lot of people need to do on a lot of levels is open your eyes to what's going on in the world. Open your eyes to what's going on with yourself. Open your eyes to how you react. Open your eyes to a lot of things. And the way you do this is by increasing your consciousness, or your raising your frequency to a higher consciousness. I've been doing a lot of research, or no, not research. I'd say been doing a lot of review on some things about what's going on with the consciousness of people. And I don't think they realize that Bodhidharma, who was a great monk that came from India, indicated through his teachings that people needed to realize the Buddha nature of themselves, their Buddha nature. So, what is Buddha nature? Well, Buddha nature is realizing that you are the Buddha, that you are the Christ, that you are the divinity, that you seek outside, not something that should be sought inside. In other words, it should be sought inside, not outside. That's the point I'm trying to make here. And the only way that you can do that is to realize, okay, that just consciousness itself, okay, just the fact that you have consciousness and you're experiencing the world is your Buddha nature. But you to say that you realize your Buddha nature and to experience the Buddha nature is two different things. But at least if you know what Buddha nature is, then you will maybe gain a little bit of a handle on how to recognize it. So Bodhidharma talked about Buddha nature, and he talked about people seeking things outside themselves, looking for the Buddha outside themselves, or the Christ, or whatever. And basically, what he said is, how can a Buddha look for a Buddha? How can a Buddha worship a Buddha outside yourself? When you are the Buddha, you are the Christ. So if people take this as gospel, or if they even consider it, it's going to help your life. It's going to help you realize that you have a little bit more control over the situation that surrounds you than you might realize, and you also might realize that any vibration that you put out there will have some kind of an effect on the universe, because it's consciousness at work, okay? And consciousness is powerful. The fact that you have consciousness, the fact that that consciousness is coming through you, through yourself, okay? Now, when you have this Buddha consciousness, you see things differently. You see things, you see yourself, you see your ego self. And I might say you might even see your ego selves. In other words, there's many aspects to each individual, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light. And then there's just a lot of different aspects to the selves. Okay. But when you're coming from Buddha consciousness, you realize what these selves are. Okay. Because you're looking at the selves and I should say it's looking at the selves and realizing them for what they are and integrating them into a cohesive unit, okay, that can accomplish things in the world, okay, can accomplish things within the duality, okay, within the chaos of the structure that we live in. So anyway, that's kind of a spiritual thought for the day. Let me touch upon some of the world affairs that's happening right now, and that's within the duality. And so, if you open up your third eye or open up that Buddha consciousness, you'll see things, but not be made anxious by things, not be fearful of things, not be in fear of your life. What you have to do is look at what surrounds you and take it as, for what it's worth, a circus in the illusion of life. That's all it is a circus. So we can be entertained by it. It is entertaining to watch this, some of this shit out there going on. And does it instill anger in people? Does it instill righteous indignation? It might, okay? If you're a warrior, okay, and you're on a certain path within this duality, okay? See, the warrior isn't a bad thing. And even the warrior that is in battle, or the warrior that is fighting for certain rights, is not a bad thing. It's like the caste system in India, okay, where you had the merchant and you had the warrior and you had the businessman. I guess merchant and businessman would be the same thing. The farmer, caste systems. So whatever caste system you were in, you perform that duty, which brings to mind about what Krishna said to Arjuna, who was contemplating going into battle and the horrific aspects of it. And basically in a capsulized version, or a short version, is basically what he said was, it's all an illusion anyway, so go ahead and perform your duties. And know that it's an illusion. It really doesn't even exist, the world as we see it. But he was instructed to perform his duties. So what's our duties as spiritual warriors, or what's our duty to others, okay, in a righteous way? Well, our duty to others would be doing what I'm doing, I believe, which is informing, giving perspective on, urging people on to a higher level of consciousness, and possibly to a higher level of activism, because while we are within this duality, sometimes we have to play the game of duality, or sometimes we have to realize purpose within this duality. And sometimes that purpose is to take the higher ground, take the higher moral ground, stand up for the people that are disenfranchised, downtrodden, stand up for the link of nature, okay, that us all. We are all one with nature, and we are all one with the cosmos. So sometimes we have to stand for something, okay? To stand for something. And usually the righteous or the truthful will be facing an onslaught of incredible strength, as it seems anyway. Or maybe the righteous or the truthful will have to face a wall of deceit and lies. And so that goes with the territory of being a warrior. Now, what I'm seeing in the world today is just intensifying of the deceit and lies, and an intensifying of the way that people treat others, the people, the powers to be, the leaders, okay, the governmental authority. And then you have the elite, okay, and those are people that are considered elite monetarily, not up here. They're bankrupt morally, okay. But here they go doing all kinds of strange things, promoting warfare, promoting death and destruction, promoting greed and avarice. And they're doing this in all kinds of different ways. And they play their games on the world stage. They play their games, and their games are sometimes hard to just discern because it's the good old boys club, right? It's up there. So let's look at what's going on. Something that is disturbing to me, from a spiritual level, or even from a moral level, as far as mankind goes, is this continual, incessant, what's the word I want to, warfare or aggression is the word I want to use here, by the leaders of Israel, okay, by Netanyahu, who is a Yahoo, pursuing and attacking sovereign nations, okay? So we got Syria over there, and we got the West, okay, that has been wanting Assad, okay, out of office, just like they wanted all the other leaders out of office. The Libyan leader, Gaddafi, the Iraqi leader, Saddam Hussein. So what did they do? They trumped up charges on these people, false charges, and proceeded to take them out. Okay, and that's what they did. Now, they wanted to follow through. They wanted to follow through with this same agenda that they have, which is to take all these states. General Wesley Clark stated it. He was very truthful about that, probably caught where the agenda with the Pentagon was to take out all these nations in succession, ending with Iran, okay? So that would be the entire Middle East, except they stubbed their toe with Syria, okay? That was one of the nations that's in the queue here to be taken out, or the leader to be taken out, replaced with a puppet or whatever. That didn't happen, and you know why? Because Russia stepped in, and Russia saw the aggression and the hegemony and the perverse avarice of the USA and NATO and the West, and he stopped it dead in its tracks a long time ago with Obama. and went in and proceeded to do battle with ISIS, okay, and some of the other supposed quote unquote terrorist groups. And these terrorist groups were formed by the CIA and Hillary Clinton and Obama and McCain and others that went in there. So, see, there is no political divide. They're all one group of fucked up people. Okay. So basically, they stubbed their toe with Syria. Okay, but they're still trying. They're still trying to get into Syria, and they're using Israel as a proxy. The USA is. Israel has always had a large influence on the politics and the geopolitical stance of the United States. They have heavy-duty lobbyists in Washington, and they most likely are, well, not most likely, they are part of this deep state agenda, a Zionist thing. And when I say Zionist, I don't mean Jewish people. There's a lot of good Jewish people out there. But it's the deep state of the Jewish state, okay? And it's the deep state of the American state, which could all be one. In fact, there's a worldwide cabal of these idiots. So the latest that we've seen is the fact that Israel has flown into a sovereign country across their borders. That would be like Syria or some other foreign state, even Mexico, anybody, flying their fighter jets across our border and intruding on our airspace. Let's put this into perspective. How long do you think that would last? How long do you think that would last if a couple of big fighters from Russia or Syria or whatever came into our airspace, across our borders, went in and bombed a faction that we had here of the National Guard or whatever? That would be crazy. That would start World War III, okay? Or at the very least, those planes would be shot out of the sky and turned into a molecular structure. So this, to put things into perspective, is exactly what Israel just did to Syria. They flew in over the borders to a sovereign country and took out some Iranian allies that were fighting against ISIS and with Russia. See, Russia and Iran and the Syrian army were all together in taking out ISIS, again, formed by the CIA, a terrorist group put in there to overthrow Assad. So they did this, 2, 3, 4 days ago. Now, the sneaky part about it is, okay, there is a no-fly zone over in Syria. In other words, there are Russian S-400 and S-300 missile batteries that can take anything out of the sky. Hell, they can shoot a football out of the sky at 35, 40,000 feet, okay? So when Israel came in, okay, and I'm a pilot, okay, and have been for a long time, and so I know about aviation. There's a thing in the aircraft called a transponder. It's a little radio, and it has a certain code that you enter into it to identify you and your aircraft to radar. And soon as the radar picks up on that, they can see, oh, that's an American jet, or that's an Israeli jet, and it's a F-15 or whatever. Well, what they did, what Israel did, is they masked themselves. They flew across the border, okay, or that's a word for uh, sending out a signal, okay, or transmitting a signal that indicated that they were American jets. And American jets are allowed to fly in there for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because they came in on the pretext of they were fighting ISIS, when in fact they created ISIS. So has somehow they slid their slimy little asses in there, and were allowed by Russia and Syria. Well, let's put it this way: not allowed, but were taken down. Okay. So anyway, they pulled a fast one, and they used a transponder code that was American, and they snuck in there and they took out some allies, the Iranian allies of Syria. They did it once, but I don't think that they're going to be able to do it again. And this is very, very touchy. Okay, it's very on the edge, chancy. Okay. So right now, what's happening is if they try this again, well, don't think it's going to happen. Russia will shoot them out of the sky, or but see, here's the thing: when they start squawking those codes on their transponders that indicate that they're American, it's really hard if you don't have eyes on. In other words, if you're not doing a flyby in another jet to identify that aircraft that's come in over the border visually, visual identification. Sometimes you can't do that. So how are they going to tell the difference between an Israeli jet that's coming over and an American jet just by the transponder code? It's going to be difficult. And so this is where the problem lies. In identifying, okay, and that's where the chanciness of it comes in. So you got that, okay, situation that has arisen. So I just thought I'd touch on that today. I'm not going to make this video too long. I see one of the people came in on chat, and I think that's the person that ordered a book. And if it is, I want to tell you that I received the books from the warehouse, and I'll be sending that book off to you pretty soon here, the signed copy. So came a little bit sooner than I thought. But back to this rant here that I'm on. I think that it's not a good situation. And this thing just keeps dragging on and on and on. This Syria thing, and the intrusion of one government against the other over sovereign territories, over borders. Somewhere, sometime, somehow, there's going to be a slip up, okay? And we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that plays out. There's going to be a slip up with this whole scenario of people flying across each other's borders, and the hit and miss situation that is presenting itself. And supposedly, now another thing that I want to touch on is supposedly when they went in, or Israel, and took out some of these Iranians, again, the allies of Syria and allied with Russia in their war against ISIS. When they took these people out, they used, the rumor is, and when I saw that explosion, because it was it was captured on video. When I saw that explosion, my first comment was, "Holy shit, that looks like a nuke." It looks like a nuke, and so, there is rumors, okay, that it could have been, and I'm not saying it is, but there's rumors, very strong rumors that it could have been a tactical nuke, okay, and that it could have been a neutron bomb. So anyway, I got some things coming up real soon here, so I'm going to have to leave it there today. Just a short video for information purposes. So until next time, I'll see you later. Adios.